Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Dugout Talk podcast. I'm sorry that it was like a full week without an episode. Life just kind of got in the way. As you know, this is just a hobby for me. But we are back with another episode. I also had another episode in the works. I just haven't quite finished it because, again, it's just been a really time-consuming project because that's been the first one with video. Working on I'm not going to say who it's about, but it's a specific player that I really wanted to talk about. So that video is in the works. I just need to finish it. I have a good chunk of it done. I just need to finish putting it all together. Anyways, today we are talking about Munetaka Murakami, who has already impressed and has already gained several nicknames. Some are calling him the Southside Samurai. Dallas Braden called him the Murakami Tsunami, which I thought was funny. The only thing is, Dallas Braden mentioned this, and I think this is kind of funny because I was like, really? Another one was that, it feels like every second or third player from Japan that gets a nickname has samurai somewhere in the nickname. And so I propose that this time we use something new, but still get the alliteration. We go the Southside Shogun, right? Because to kind of educate a little bit, right? Because I wouldn't look this up and just to see, does this make any sense at all, right? Is that, samurais were like, these elite warriors, like they were like elite warrior class. Shoguns were like the leaders of those militaries, right? And I think that's perfect for Murakami. I mean, he's the leader of this team. He already loves this team. He has already brought so much hype and excitement to this team. And I don't think anyone would really argue that there's anyone on this team that's really competing with him for being the superstar of this team. So you probably saw it in the title. I'm probably going to put in a title. We are here on the Dugout Talk podcast dubbing Munetaka Murakami the Southside Shogun. All right. So today we're going to talk about the Southside Shogun, Murakami, and just his absolutely phenomenal start to the season. When a lot of people said, he wouldn't succeed in MLB, we have seen the opposite of that. He has been extremely successful. So we're breaking down all the different ways that he has proved the doubters wrong and what his performance could mean for a struggling White Sox franchise down the line. So let's get into it. Over the offseason, the White Sox signed Murakami to a 2-year, $34 million deal. Some would say this was, the White Sox going to make a move to, try and get a core player for the beginning of their rebuild. Others would say that people, the stats heads were looking at Murakami and saying he wasn't going to succeed. And so none of the other teams really wanted him. Regardless of how the White Sox got their guy, they got their guy. And he has been their guy this year. He's already hit 11 home runs. We're not even through April. The season's only just about to be a month old, and the dude's already hit 11 home runs, with one in each of his first 3 games. That is pretty small club of people who've done that. And then furthermore, he tied the rookie record for home runs in consecutive games with 5, a streak that just ended back on Friday, right? However, he then proceeded to follow it up yesterday on Saturday, or wait, no. Thursday? I don't know. Whatever day that streak ended, the day after, he went and hit his 11th bomb. So, dude hit 6 home runs in 7 games. Shout out to all the kids. That meme's dead. Thank goodness. Finally. Anyways. But, I mean, you look at this guy's Baseball Savant page, and it is one of the classic bipolar Baseball Savant pages. It is either bright red, top 10 percentile, or it is just dark blue, bottom 10 percentile. But the stats that are, the stats that are versus aren't, I think, are quite comforting. Which you will immediately notice when looking at his Baseball Savant page, and just from watching him play, is that Murakami is a 3 true outcomes guy. For those of you who have not followed baseball closely enough, or just maybe haven't gotten into the super nitty-gritty stats before, 3 true outcomes refers to the 3 outcomes of an at-bat that are not in any way affected by fielder ability. is purely batter versus pitcher outcomes. Number 1 is a strikeout. So it's just the pure outcome of you struck him out, he just goes back to the dugout, right? Outcome number 2 is a walk, right? Your pitches were not good enough. He had a good eye, whatever. He gets to take his base for free. Number 3, and of course, the most exciting play in baseball, the home run. I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. Oh, he absolutely set your pitch at the orbit, and no one can even field it because it's just out of the stadium. So, Murakami is a 3 true outcomes guy. So what we basically mean when we say a 3 true outcomes guy is that a very, very high percentage of at-bats will end in one of the 3 true outcomes. He's not going to get a lot of just random base hits. He's not going to ground out a lot. It is strikeout, homer, walk. That's it. And his rate this year for doing so has been 60%. A little over 60%, somewhere thereabouts. It's been somewhere around 60% this year. If he were to end the season with a 60% 3 true outcome percentage, that would make him, well, if we go exactly 60th, it would put him like 5th all time probably, somewhere thereabouts. And just a funny little stat thing, if you look at the all-time highest 3 true outcome percentage seasons, the top 3 are all Joey Gallo. And if you look at the top 20, there are 6 total Joey Gallo seasons in there. That's quite the comparison. But yeah, like I said, 60%. So 60% of his at-bats are ending in a strikeout, homer, or walk. So if he takes 5 at-bats in a game, 3 of those are going to be strikeout, homer, or walk. Okay? And there's nothing inherently in this says, I think, a lot. And when you look at the Baseball Savant page, it kind of explains what we're looking at here. So how is he doing this? Well, first of all, he has crazy good power. He is in the 99th percentile for average exit velo in the MLB. His expected slugging is in the 99th percentile. His barrel percentage is in the 100th percentile. It's top tier at just a little over 25%. And his hard hit rate is at 65.5%, putting him in the 99th percentile for that set too. So expected slugging, average exit velo, barrel percentage, hard hit rate, he is top tier in. First percentile or better. The problem is that is accompanied with a first percentile, so literally like league worst whiff rate. So basically, the problem is, can he make contact? Because when he makes contact, the dude absolutely destroys baseballs. But he whiffs 40% of the time. So there's like, a lot of times that he's not going to hit the baseball. So when he goes to swing at the ball, there's only like at best a 60% chance he's going to hit it. But then if his hard hit rate is 65%, I'm going to guess that's on batted. If I remember correctly how it works, it's based on batted balls. So it's like 65% of 60%, which is going to be about 39%. I paused the recording real quick to grab a calculator. It came out with about 39%, like 38.9%. So basically that means he swings the pitch like 38.9% of the time. That ball is going to be just smashed. Problem is, or maybe it's just put in play, whatever. Regardless, whiff rate, very, very high. That would explain the very high K rate. K rate of almost 32%, which ranks in the 8th percentile. So not quite the worst there, but quite a high K rate. But at the other end of that, like I said, 3 true outcomes, his walk rate is the 98th percentile at nearly 20%. So again, like I said, so basically, walks and strikeouts account for pretty much almost exactly 50% of Murakami's at-bats. He then follows up with, hitting 100, within 113 plate appearances, having 11 home runs. So like I said, about 60% of his ABs or his plate appearances into one of the 3 true outcomes. What kind of value can you place to a player like that where, you say, oh, he's going to go up and strike out quite frequently? Well, just a reminder, he's currently got an on base of almost 400. He's batting above league average, right? So he's an above league average bat in terms of batting average. His on base percentage is dang near 400. His slugging is over 600, meaning he has an OPS of over 1,000 while batting around at sub 260. Dude's a threat. Another interesting thing I'd like to note, really, really, truly pertaining to the three true outcomes, is that when he gets a hold of the ball, that ball does not stay in the ballpark, because in his hits this year are all home runs or singles. And mind you, he has hit 11 home runs and 12 singles. Not a single double, not a single triple. Not that I expect him to really hit a triple, as he's average speed at best, and that could be difficult. And he also, back to the whole, bright red or dark blue thing, his base running run value is 14th percentile to -1. But I think what I would say at this point is, do I really care if you are striking out 30% of the time if you're getting on base 40%, right? Because to an extent, right, when runners are on, right, well, if he's probably not putting the ball in play, so he might not ground into a double play and, mess up the inning. Now, granted, he also might not ground into something that could advance the runner, but he could also walk there. Or, he could hit a bomb and, hey, that's now 2 runs. So there's a lot to be said for, how the three true outcomes can play into how valuable they are, right? The way you want to think about it. Let me just quickly pull up his baseball ref. I didn't pull up his baseball reference before the show. I should have. His OPS plus is 183 right now. I don't think you really complain about a high K rate when the dude is also got a 183 OPS plus. Like, that is no small feat. League average, an average player is going to be at 100. Good is 125, right? All-time famous seasons are like, in the 200s. 183 in any given year is elite. Elite offensive production. So you got a guy who's got elite offensive production. What does this mean for the White Sox in the future? Well, at worst, if you're the White Sox, right, he probably just pops off here, right, falls off, and you kind of get decent value for this contract. At best, right, he continues to play really, really good, and he says, hey, I love it here. I want to stay in the Southside. I want to stay a White Sox, right? I want to stay with this team. I love this team. He's already expressing, you can say, it's through a translator, a lot of the Japanese players always come over and are very, very professional, but you don't always speak their mind, just try to be very, very respectful all the time. He's just saying all that just to say it. But it seems like from his demeanor and just watching the way he plays that ball club, that it feels like he does genuinely mean that, and that he does actually love this team and love playing in Chicago, which I think is great that they have found a player who does. So best case scenario, you can lock him up with a big extension and he just continues to be a superstar for this team. And then, somewhere in the middle is, hey, he continues to be a superstar for this team over the 2 years, but he's just too good and realizes like, hey, I need to capitalize on the fact that I am, very good here and that teams really might like to have me and might pay quite a lot of money for my services, and he goes and take those somewhere else, right? But I think there's scenarios where he does become a significant, very important part of this core over the long term. And I think that is really exciting for the White Sox, a team that has not had much to get excited about. To have, it's always nice when you are a struggling team to have a player who gives you something to be excited about, right? Everyone needs something to get excited about. And it's great when that something to get excited about is a potential next big thing, potential next superstar, or, the next rookie of the year, right? There are a lot of people saying, the prediction market, sports books, they've got pretty decent odds for Murakami to come out of this as the AL Rookie of the Year for 2026. So that's something to be excited about for White Sox fans. It's been a lot of fun to watch him play ball. Dude's just mashing baseballs. There's no denying that. The dude's got a ton of pop. And it'd be very, very exciting to see what he continues to do throughout the rest of the season. Also, just wanted to give a quick little shout out to the number one prospect in baseball, Connor Griffin, who just turned 20 yesterday, and on his 20th birthday, finally hit his first major league home run. Also had his first 3-hit game. Congratulations to Connor Griffin on that. So sad you couldn't have done it while you were here in Texas. Another reason why I didn't have 2 pods was I went to the Tuesday night game between Rangers and Pirates, and then I went to the Friday night game between the Rangers and the A's. We're not going to talk about that one. Oh, hey, by the way, I'm gonna give a quick little shout as we kind of get towards the end of this episode. While I was at that game, I was posting a lot to my X, formerly Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I'm probably going to call it Twitter most of the time just because that's what I think of it as. But anyways, if you guys want to just follow me more, want to hear what I got to say, just some other random stuff, I also might, throw some pod updates on there. I also tend to try to be a little bit funny, a little bit creative on there. I dropped a little thing last night when I was at that game. First pitch of the ball game, Nick Kurtz hit a ball out. I was at the game with my sister, and I was talking to her, and I was like, this dude won a Rookie of the Year last year. I wouldn't be surprised. And I was going to say I wouldn't be surprised if he hit a home run. And then the dude hit a home run. And I was like, are we serious right now? I couldn't even finish saying I wouldn't be surprised if he hit a home run before the dude did it. So also shout out to Nick Kurtz for being an absolute dog, I guess, and making my team look silly. Thanks for that. Anyways, I digress. Thank you so much for listening. Follow the Twitter, follow the Instagram. They are, I believe, in the bio on the podcast on Spotify and on YouTube. Anyways, go follow them. Have a great weekend. Enjoy some fantastic series that we've got lined up this weekend. I know I will be. Thank you guys so much for listening.